Oh, yeah, okay. There, good. I'm organized.
Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Trish.
Mrs. Brew?
Here.
Mr. Kramer? Mr. Menegini?
Here.
Mr. Moraro?
Here.
Mr. Pop?
Here.
Do I have a motion to excuse Brett?
I make a motion to excuse Brett.
Support.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any questions on the agenda? If,
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Approval of minutes, a regular meeting of June 6, 2022.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of June 6, 2022.
Support.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Special meeting of June 15, 2022.
I make a motion to approve special meeting of June 15, 2022.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
We'll move on to the manifest 2022-12. Scott, did you have any questions?
I have nothing for tonight.
Jeff?
None, Mayor. None.
None. I have one. It's under, I believe it's under the hydro. It's under electric hydro. The
Page is that?
507, the very first one. I was wondering what a fuel backpack vacuum is and what we're using that for.
On page 5?
5 to 7.
507, yes. And you can find that out.
Yeah, that was the fuel part throws me. I believe they did buy, if this is the same thing, a portable vacuum that they put on their back so when they're cleaning, they're not hauling around the shop vac. I think that's what that is, but we'll make a note of it and I'll verify that.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion on manifest 2022-12?
Motion to approve manifest 2022-12 in the amount of $103,003.95.
Super.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes. And I believe all our manifest questions from the previous time were answered. So, anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on an agenda item only shall do so now at the podium. State your name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. We'll move on to public hearing. I need a motion to go into public hearing.
Motion.
In public hearing.
Support.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
We'll start with our first one, proposed property tax millage rate.
So this is a yearly thing to approve during budget. Our treasurer asked that we have this approved now. It's a little late than from previously, but they need to start getting the tax bills ready. This millage rate has not changed from the previous year. It's the same as it was. I have no issue with the approval.
Yeah, yeah, just to make it clear for the public, there's no changes, but we do have to go through this yearly to approve it to collect the taxes.
So we can't send the tax bills out until it's approved, right? Well, maybe we don't have to approve it right away.
Oh,
They need to get out.
That's not how it works.
that's not how it works. I need a motion. If there's no other questions on that. Any public comment on that? No.
How do you want a motion?
Grant, can we do as presented, or do you want a specific the millage rate.
I think we do it when we come out of.
Yeah, we still have to go.
Yeah, when we go, it's a regular item, but when we come out,
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah, we vote on it down below. I see
Yeah.
we have it there.
right, and it's the, I think it's as presented.
as presented,
It's fine.
so when we get there.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I should have caught that.
So, okay.
All right, we're gonna move on to the rate reschedule wastewater sewer credit.
Still in public hearing?
Yes, we are.
So again, this is part of the budget, it's a small part of the overall rate schedule that you guys will see probably this week, but this topic was of course discussed a couple of times, so we felt it prudent to have it at this public hearing as well as the one up and coming, so. And we do have that is on the regular agenda as well, it's just like the millage rate for an emotion, but public hearing is just discussion.
I think everybody's aware of what we've been looking at here. There is a shortage in the sewer fund, and Brock did bring this to us. He's got some numbers and stuff that he'll share with us after. Do we have any public participation for this? Well, now's the time.
Cosmo Calabrese, 110 11th Avenue.
Did you say your name again?
Cosmo Calabrese, COSMO, CALABRESE. I don't know, like, I know we're going to learn more today and everything. I just want to reiterate a couple things I said the last time we were here about this, which is, please just think about if we're paying for a service and if we're using the service, okay? If it's something about semantics about how it's billed, I don't know. I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm not being clear. I just don't want to pay for water leaving my house that ain't leaving my house, is what it boils down to for me. And also, we're watering more than just flowers in our yard. A lot of people, especially right now, are growing gardens because they got a can. And we have literally a kitchen full of canning goods, you know, every garden. It's gonna cost us that much more if we're paying for water that's not going down the sewer, you know what I'm saying? Because that water's not getting, it's going down the sewer, it's not going down the sewer, but we're paying for it too. In fact, like twice what it costs to bring it in. You know, so it's already very high, the sewer bill is very, very high. And the water bill's pretty high. I just asking you guys to consider that if the bills go up much higher, it's getting harder and harder for everybody. And that was it.
All right, thank you.
Cosmo.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Do I have any other? Do I have any comments from the council at this point?
This is a tough one.
Yeah, you know, I've been on record earlier that I do think, personally, we should give the folks a grass period this summer, and not pass or pass the water credit for one more summer, which will then allow us to come up with a good plan, an alternative plan, but with the understanding that this is it. We can't run deficits. You can't run deficits in that department forever. You know, yeah, it's on us to find a solution, and we will find a solution, and we'll find an alternative for you folks. But in my opinion, and again, I'm just one vote, I think we should honor it this year, but this is it.
Why is the sewage fund losing money?
Sewer fund always loses money. It always loses money.
Plus all the chemicals and everything else, everything else is going up.
Doubled, tripled.
You know,
Yeah.
we're in the same boat as everybody else. I mean, we're citizens here too, so we understand, you know, we don't want to raise things. Sure. But we also can't run the budget in the red either. You know, this ain't easy decisions for us to make either. And
Yeah, this ain't $9 grand, this is $90 grand. right, was what you're gonna see Brock's.
Potential.
You know, what his numbers are gonna show, it's a significant number. That, and for us to sustain something like this, we would have to raise rates across the board to you know, to offset the cost of this, so, I think we definitely heard you, all you folks up here, I mean, the community was definitely involved in,
Yeah.
in this, but, and we heard that, but it's very, very hard, you know, we have to run it like a business at some point, right?
Right.
What about the meters? Has there been any?
We're still waiting. I haven't gotten an update recently. We'll put in a call. We're supposed to have them in July, and then of course, if we get it paddled in July, it's gonna take at least this summer and the next to probably get them all installed.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
And we understand that, and that's not your fault.
Right, no, I get it, I just, as long as that's there, you know what I mean? Because we're being charged fairly for what's leaving our
Yep.
house. I got no problem with that, I really don't.
Right.
That's metered, and it's accounted for, you know?
And we do understand that, and of course, if the pandemic didn't happen, we would have the meters, and they probably would be almost all in by now,
Right.
so.
Like on Norway Hill, we don't even have sewers or catch basins or the water will go in. Know what I mean?
You're looking at what runs off your lawn, out?
Yeah,
Yeah, but that goes in the ground, it's filtration, so it doesn't matter. What we're looking at is what goes down into the sewer system, into the city that we have to treat. That's what we're looking at right here with this.
Sanitary.
Sanitary sewer. That's what we're discussing right now, because there's meters that aren't hooked, that are in the system, that are watering lawns, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there is some, so there is a cost to putting our meter in, but we don't have the meters for that capability for water. Then we can have that discussion. What we're looking at is a big loss in the sewer revenue, because we can discuss it with the council, with Brock here shortly about why we're looking at this problem.
We don't have any meters now.
Not enough to worry about the public for doing, no, we're just cutting, we're covering, we have enough meters just to cover it in case something breaks or something fails.
I thought they said 10.
I got no 7 left.
7, yeah. And that's,
And I put one, I mean, today we used one up because somebody had a leak because.
Right, we gotta keep
Yeah.
them,
I
we
mean,
gotta
that's
keep
what
them
We
seven.
gotta keep the residential, the
Da-
people who need it for water for the house is what our meters are for.
David, last time Ray was in, he said, he talked to them and they said they would have at least a pallet here by the 1st of July. Did you hear anything like that?
No, I was talking to Dan.
I was on that conversation with Ray,
Yes.
and it wasn't just, I mean, it was the full 1,000. It was not just a few, it was gonna be our remaining order.
And that's what we're hoping for, but.
Yeah, and we're so,
I got a question for you, David. We do have the old meters, correct?
The old style meters, yes, but their batteries are failing. That's why we're replacing. So,
Could we find however many people are out there that would like to add another meter? Can we use those for this summer?
if the battery doesn't fail, yes. If the battery fails, then we gotta get a manual read. So we don't know all that. But also, there's a cost to the homeowner, no, we're.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know
They'd
that.
have to pay and install it twice,
Homeowners have
basically.
to pay for the plumbing. I mean, we're not plumbers. We're not allowed to plumb in anybody's
No.
house.
No.
No, but we would, if they had the plumbing, we come and put the meters in. They would be a simple
Right
swap.
after, right, because we have to visually make sure there's an air gap for the city, protect the city, because you're pushing out onto the grass.
Yeah.
So there's a backflow preventer has to be put in place. You have to have it certified. And after you have it, there's a cost to maintain it. Because once we have you on the list, every year, you're supposed to have that backflow preventer serviced and checked. And we have to have signage that says it's done. Else we're not gonna give you the water out of your house to that meter. No, we're gonna shut you off and say until this is fixed. Because we have to protect the public in case of a back siphon problem. So,
I'm just looking at ways that we can try and help everybody out.
but the problem there again is the age of the meters that we're replacing is old, the batteries are failed, or NICAP batteries, some are, we're still picking up reads. We don't know that going out. I mean, I don't have those old style sitting around. You know, once we pull them out, they're done. So,
Yeah, I think, again, if we take this summer to get through this, the pandemic shortage of meters, come up with a good plan that we can present to the public for next summer, knowing that this is now coming to an end, I think that's probably our best course of action.
I'm gonna be able to do that.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with Councilman Marrero.
Which though?
Yeah, I know. Good thing we sit by each other. It's easy for me to come in here and be, armchair quarterback. To me, this is something that should have been done 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We're metering 50% of our water that we're pumping, roughly, when the industry standard's over 80-some percent, closer to 90%. We've got a lot of issues with getting these meters replaced. We have a lot of issues with people knowing how to tinker with stuff already.
Yeah, it's not your turn yet.
It's been a lot of problems.
Frito, please.
We need
It's not
to-
time yet.
I think this should have been done a long time ago, and I think it should happen today. Just one person's vote. Next thing is gonna be a recession. Next thing, it's gonna be a labor shortage. There's never gonna be a perfect time, right? I mean, a good time to do it is when we're short, how many tens of thousands of dollars? And this is the good time. It's not perfect. Will never be perfect. That's my opinion.
And my one worry is, I would like to give everybody a chance. I'm torn on this position. The only one problem I have, if we're in the red with the budget, okay, and we don't do this, so do we have to go out and charge everybody more that isn't using the sewer? I mean, that's a fair statement to make, because we have to make up the difference for the budget.
But who's using the sewer that's not paid for?
Not the sewer, but the sewer credit. I'm sorry,
I'm not sure how the sewer, all I know is that the sewer credit works out that average.
All right.
And that if you have that average, then at least that's something to go off of for the changes in the summertime. Now, I know that people work around it.
Right, I'm gonna let our sewer department superintendent.
Yeah, we all need a-
I'm just gonna let him answer that one question, and then he's gonna give us a whole run before we vote, okay? I'll let him answer that one
So
last
your question
question.
was, how does the average work?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know how the average, you get the average, but.
It's the average of your September through May, which is the lowest usage from all the people. Calculate it out, divide it by, so you can use that during the summer months.
Right, and I get it.
And-
So how are people cheating that in such a bad way?
Okay, I'll get into that a little bit more when we see the numbers, but when there's 6 people home from school, sign up. They're not using it as it was intended, but there's no rules to have us police it.
I understand.
So it's like, go take a ride around town, okay, you got the credit, you live in an apartment.
Okay, so it's a rough estimate, because you've got people who have a dozen kids away from school, and all the kids and their friends are over during the summer, and now they're getting above and beyond.
They're using more water.
But then, right.
Yeah.
Yes, so they're using more sewer.
Yes.
Correct.
They're getting charged for every penny, every drop of water, but.
They're not getting charged for the sewer.
Yes,
Correct.
And I'll show you the numbers, cause they're not.
Yeah, no, I understand the concept, and that's what I was wondering about before.
Yep.
So, my only concern then would be like, the way to fix that, then obviously is the meters, and so that, I mean, I can't say it solves it, because I don't know enough about the whole thing, okay, but I know that would pinpoint some things, right, that would fine tune it.
We gotta start somewhere, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's why it's this year or no year. I mean, it's time to start. The council's been advised by Dan, ourselves, saying, hey, sometime it's gotta start. When?
Short of sending out the sewer police to ensure that everybody's doing it properly. No, you're exactly right. The only way we can police this is the folks that are gonna use that actually is not gonna spend the money on getting a meter put in, because it's gonna cost them more money. That's the only way we can police it, short of going out there taking pictures of folks saying, oh, look, they're not watering your grass, you're not, you don't have a garden,
or making it an actual requirement.
Exactly.
And we're not saying everybody's doing that.
No.
We're not pointing any fingers, so,
And there's no restrictions, you can just sign up.
Yeah,
There's no fault in all the people.
There's no fault in it.
Yeah, there's no pre-qualification.
Would you say of the population signs up for this credit? This is about everybody, I suppose.
No, I think last year about 350 out of 1,500 meters. But everybody could.
20%? About 25%, yeah, about 20%, 25%, somewhere in there.
And not all partners.
I had no idea this even existed.
So just imagine if everybody signed up for it. We're 90, you're gonna see some numbers here in a little bit.
I
Yeah.
totally get it.
Right.
But there's just, the problem is the disconnect between the service you're making.
Totally agree.
And I understand that 100%.
Yep.
So that's the problem. It's like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, but I don't know, and I don't know how you do
Is there
that.
something?
Loud and clear.
we can do For those who are utilizing it,
So I,
that we
yeah,
could
I,
just add to their monthly
Do you
bill
want to wait till we get to the thing
instead
you want to
of all
say?
at once?
it doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
I can talk now before I
All
do
right.
it.
Go ahead.
So, a couple things. In my memo, yeah, I do recommend that we look at suspending it now, and for a couple of reasons. One, the meter thing is certainly an issue. If we can suspend it for one summer, at least we get a baseline going forward. We know exactly how it's impacting us in a revenue standpoint, because we don't know. We're showing numbers that could be 90,000, it could be 1,000. We really don't know. And the only way we're gonna know is if we suspend it for 1 year. Now, during this summer and going forward, yes, we have to find a way to make this work for people. One, yeah, we can do the meter part. That's gonna cost the individual homeowner upwards of $1,000 probably, okay? But the second part too is what is the purpose of this program? Is it simply for people to save money, or is it for ag, where you wanna grow a plant? So what is the purpose? If the purpose is for gardens and all that, then let's have a process. If Cosmo comes in, I want to do the sewer credit policy. Why? Well, here's my garden. Let's go take a look at it. How much water are you using? Maybe it's not unlimited. Maybe you don't need 20,000 gallons to do your water. Maybe you need 6,000 gallons over what you normally use. So we can come up with a formula and make sure that it's being used for an appropriate purpose. Again, gardens, we should also preach conservation on this. We don't want to waste water either. So for a purpose of a garden, I think that makes sense. I just think we need to suspend it to know how it really is impacting us, and then when we get the meters in, then we'll really know the difference. We'll see before and after suspension, and then when we get the meters. And then we come up with that plan so we can implement this in a fashion that makes sense. So me in an apartment, I don't get the credit policy. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at this right now as a...
Nor should you, right?
Right, exactly.
You live in an apartment.
Right. I have no purpose for it. If I have a plant, I don't think I need the savings. So I think when I look at this, it's a temporary suspension so we know what's happening that we've never been able to capture before. And then during that time, coming up with a realistic way and working with you guys too. Let's go look at your garden. How much water do you need? What do you use? Maybe it's a solution of you're using too much. How can we better make it work for you? But we have to start somewhere to know what we don't know.
And that is a very good point, which I never thought about, is if we did suspend it this year before we put the new meters in, we'll really be able to see what kind of savings.
We'll know in October what
And I'll report
really...
back through the committees, through the boards. We'll work on it as soon as the
Yep.
numbers are ready.
But that will give us a real baseline of what are we actually talking about. We'll look at the graph and we'll look at the numbers, but we don't know, we got the meter problem and we got the sewer problem. We don't know yet.
And for me personally, if I had, that it was part of the deal that it was going to be temporary and revisited and redone, I could live with that. Because I understand you have to have a basin, I get that. If you haven't had an accurate reading from the town in years, then you gotta get that. So I completely understand having an accurate baseline to start off with. But I would feel way better if I knew for a fact that it was then going to be either done or meters or something would be solved. That would not be something I would want to be permanently just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, and we could do it temporarily, but the meter thing will be,
It's in the air.
it's in the air.
Yeah.
Is there something that we can do, Trish, I don't know about building, that the people who are in want this meter credit or whatever, that have gardens, can they not take that one lump sum hit on their month? Can they spread that out? Can we make it to where they spread it out? So if it's $150, no, it's only gonna be $30 for 4 months. extra on your bill.
As a separate item?
I don't know if you could just split that big payment up over the next few months so they're not taking that big hit. Like, they watered for June, they get their bill in July, they gotta pay it. Well, instead of paying that extra $500, they're only gonna pay the extra $150 this month, another $150 next month, you know, drag it out.
We don't think it's gonna be $500, by the way.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, in payments, so they don't have
and
that
it's-
thing. Because with the economy right now, with everything skyrocketed, if we could try and help them out at the same time. Just the ones that are utilizing the credit.
Yeah,
Did I explain that right?
this gets back to the point I made earlier, I think. We don't have a plan. We're spitballing right now. And we're asking the citizens for the trust that we're gonna figure this out and suspend it in the meantime, and nobody knows what it's gonna cost them, nobody knows what it looks like. That's why I go back to, do it one more year, let's come up with some plans and some options, thoughtful plans and options, that we can then present, with the understanding that this is over now in its present form. This will be it. That's all I'm saying.
And the only thing I have, you know, for that, because like I said, I don't know how I'm gonna vote. I see it both ways, but I also understand it would be nice to be able to see and have our real numbers there. And being that we're already into, middle of June, we might as well let it go and get our real numbers and come back and look this over. When we got real numbers, and maybe we can find a plan that we can do to help people with the gardens and everything, but with that real number, that surely would help us.
You gotta find out how much extra water is going into the sewer system. During those 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. So, go ahead, David.
So, I would like to tell you, I would like to police the people that come in, because once we open this up, they're all gonna come up and sign up. Somehow, we gotta figure that they're justifiable signs.
Yes.
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 And I don't know how, as a council, you take them for their word.
Right. No, we're
Because
gonna,
that's what's something that you need to think about too, because once it starts,
And
I mean, do they have like he has an operation going there. We understand that, we see that. It's there. It's the other ones who sign up that don't. How do we, there's
The
nobody.
whole process needs to be addressed.
Addressed.
Now's
That's,
the time
well, how do you
to
wanna look
figure
at
out
that
what to
too?
do.
right, well, we're gonna have to figure that out, and the thing is, if we get the numbers, we can maybe start working on what we can do for the following year and how we're gonna go about it. I mean, I don't have all the answers, and I don't think anybody here has an.
Rob, what do you think we could have an average by, we could have some type of baseline by October?
As soon as the summer credit would expire, so the first month would be September.
Because if we suspend it now, one, we'll have our baseline one, and then we have our new program implemented the following summer. So then we'll have baseline two to know how the new credit works, like, you know, with
Parallel
Costco.
charts.
So you'll have two baselines to go. If you do it, if you don't do it this year, then it'll be a little different. You're gonna have you're gonna have a new baseline based on a new policy, just we don't know what the old baseline would have been to compare it.
Yeah, I think we need to be assigned, but that's just me. If there's no other comments, I'd like to go back into, regular session.
I'll make a motion to go back to regular session.
Support?
Mrs. Brew?
Yes?
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Let's see. We'll move on to approval of proposed property tax millage rate. Mr. Stoltman.
Just like we talked about in the public hearing,
Okay.
we are looking for a motion to approve it as presented.
I think it should be referenced, at least on the record, what the amount is.
Okay.
You know, if the community can present it, but just.
The 60 mil?
16.39.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Any other questions? I need a motion.
I move we approve the proposed property tax millage rate of a sum of $60,376,024.
Well, that's our tax, you want to approve the millage rate of 16.39.
Oh, sorry.
The 60 mils are our overall taxable value.
16,3942?
I was like, where's he coming up with this number?
right? 60 million.
It's not that much.
The first number in big bold letter. Okay, the millage requested to be levied on July 1 of 16.3942.
Support.
60 million if you wanted to buy the city.
Yeah.
That's what it
Mr.
costs.
Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
I'll make them do it. Yes.
Including today.
All right, and then we also need the levy for December, the .4977, right? Is that right?
Was that the summer, just, or what?
That one was just the,
The winter mills aren't set yet, we have to wait.
okay, that's fine. We can come back to that anyway. Now we'll move on to the wastewater sewer credit. We talked about it with the public. We've all had our comments here. I would like a Brock to do, he has a little bit to show you guys, being he's the head of that department, so if you want to share what you have with us tonight.
I do have the graphs on here.
And I'll read you the numbers because it's hard to see.
And if you guys want to move up, go ahead.
Brock, I'm not sure which one you wanted to start with here.
Page 1
Is this the one?
should be May, June, July, August. That's it. Right?
Yes.
All right, not the stuff we already talked about, but I just wanted to say that I do agree with the manager, and it's my recommendation to suspend this, not to eliminate it, because we do need to figure out how to move forward so that there's something in place that is fair for not only the city, but the residents and the departments as well. So I'll just go through these numbers real quick for June, which would be the second column. As you see, there is a loss every month. It just is limited by the sewer credit in the summer months, because we don't actually know that baseline, but the tallest number is going to be that's actually what we treat at the plant. Those are gallons that physically come in.
Brock, pull that mic closer to you, please. Thank you.
Any better?
Better.
Yes.
Okay. So your tallest line is your treated gallons. The month of June, we treated, we'll call it 7.1 million gallons. We received revenue for 4.4 million gallons. So there's 3 million gallons, 2.7 coming through that we are not receiving revenue for, but it cost us to treat. The month of July, we treated 7.9 roughly, and we received revenue for 3.9 for another 4 million gallons of lost revenue. You put a dollar amount on that, 4 million equals $36,000 that we actually treated. Well, we're not going to see that 100%, but we'll never know what we get if we keep doing what we're doing. August, we treated 8.2 million, received revenue for 3.9 for a loss of 4.3, or roughly $39,000. So that's why this is important to me, because it's my job to do what's in the best interest of the city, which is the people and the department. And if I see numbers like this and turn my head, I feel like I'm not doing my job. So that's why it's brought to my attention. Plus, those gallons are coming to the plant, and we're treating every one of them.
Brock, in the other months, what's the shortfall? Your other 8 months?
I didn't average it, but it's there every month.
But it's not to the 50% level like in the summer?
That's not a real number because it's average, though.
You're saying the May number isn't a real number?
No, May is. May is a loss of 4 million.
On both 50% roughly,
Yeah.
right
But
there.
for June, our revenue is based off the average,
Yeah.
Correct.
so.
So historically, like after the credit's gone and it ends of September?
The first month billed without the credit is September.
Okay. I'm just trying to think as far as getting a baseline goes before, without suspending the program necessarily, what the other 8 months look like. We know we don't treat every gallon, obviously, we know we always have a shortfall, right? We're never up 1 for 1 on what goes out and what we actually get revenue back in on.
Correct.
correct? So on those other 8 months, you have any idea, like, is it 20%, I mean, the difference, obviously, we see a huge difference here at half. I mean, that's crazy, right? Versus like when when that credit's not there,
Yeah, I brought May and September.
that's it, hey.
Well, because
You guys know where I'm
I've been kicking
coming
this
from?
around since January, so, I mean,
My only thought on that, Jeff, I don't know if you're comparing apples to apples then.
No, but you're gonna find out, I mean, you still have an idea at least on the months where the credit's not in place, what our short.
Sure, you would see a similar loss or not.
Correct, and at least you get an idea of roughly, well, if on off months, it's still, we're getting 80% of revenue versus 50% of revenue during the credit months, at least we got an idea what our actual, baseline would be. We may have a 20%, that's always there, Rico, is what I'm getting at. Yeah.
What I can't figure out is how come the loss is so high in May. We had a lot of rain, and I don't think anybody was watering then.
That was last year.
this is last year, Mr. Hoppers.
Oh,
That's last year's.
Yeah.
So if I can ask, where might some of these what are some of the possible reasons aside from just people? Because obviously, if you've got a loss throughout the year and it's just more pronounced in the summertime, then the credit, abolishing the credit might give you a little boost, but you're still gonna have then your baseline loss all the way around. You know what I'm saying? So where is that other, let's just pretend it's 20% loss as opposed to 50% loss. Where is that coming from then?
I believe it's the meters themselves. So at this point, the only thing we can do to make any change is this credit. We're already 1 month, almost into it. I'm just asking for everybody's patience for the next 2 months. Maybe we can be a little more conservative, responsible. We'll get to the bottom line and come back with something by the next
Yeah,
year.
but do you
for
think
sure.
it's a technical problem with the meters, or they're wearing out, or they're getting older? I mean,
Well, the new ones that we're
meters
replacing are far more accurate.
Twice, and they're tamper-proof.
Oh, so you can tamper with those?
There's a lot of ways.
There's a lot of variables
We're
regarding
trying to fix one.
Yeah, and
step
that's what
at a
I'm trying
time.
to get my head around. Obviously, if, like we just said, if you still have a loss throughout the entire year, then there's a bigger problem. than-
There's a bigger problem, there's no doubt about
This
that.
it all adds up. It's the only thing we can do.
And I get that it's more pronounced in the summertime, but it doesn't only exist in the summertime.
Correct.
So that's not gonna solve anything. It'll just put a Band-Aid on it until the problem is solved. You still gotta stop that 20% or whatever that is, right?
Right.
No, I.
But at least if we don't do it this year, we will know the difference to comparable to see how much the sewer credit made a difference too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I agree with you about the baseline, like I said, you gotta have a more accurate picture of what you're actually doing.
And this is one step of probably 3 over the next couple of years to really get a handle on the loss.
Yeah, well, as long as it's clear, I would have no problem, I'm speaking for everybody, but if it's clear that this is temporary, that this is something that you have to have in order to get the information you need to make a step forward, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna like it, but I understand it, but at the same time, if it ain't temporary, I would leave you back.
If the council does decide to motion, I would ask that you consider being specific on wanting to revisit this, post-summer and then also into the next budget season.
Hey, we revisit this in October, we get a good read in September.
And that will certainly present regardless, but I want to make sure that we know going into the next budget season that the council intends that this be revisited.
Revisited. We can't say temporary, we can say we'll revisit it.
Rob, you want to continue?
That's about all I had. Just want to
Okay.
explain the numbers
All
and
right.
if there's any other questions.
And then you,
Thank you, Brock. Thanks, Brock.
and the only thing I think is that then you can revisit this water sewer credit, and then you can address how we approve those people.
Yes.
Yes.
Not everybody gets to walk
Right.
in the office and say, hey, I want the sewer credit. There's gonna be a form, you guys are gonna have.
We are definitely gonna look at
That's
that.
where city council Carlson gets involved.
It can also be just like our fence permits. Hey, you gotta fill out bring your form in, you show us the proof that you have.
But I would like to be involved with actually.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely, bro.
yes. Okay, is there
You
any?
can get some riding around and verify.
The sewer police.
We likely would do some sort of verification process.
We have fence police. We have blight police.
All right, right. Do I have any more questions on this? If not, I need a motion.
I move that we suspend the sewer credit policy for this year to be revisited in October or at another date so that we can evaluate how much the sewer credit policy is actually impacting our budget.
Could we just put that other date this year in
Just-
2022?
I'll amend it to, how about if I just say the fall?
Okay.
We will certainly bring this back to you
Yeah.
as soon
I
as.
just want the public to know that. this
Yeah,
is-
'cause
When I say later date, I don't mean 3 years from now.
Yes.
You're right, good point.
before the first of the year, just.
Before okay, let me amend my proposal or my recommendations. My recommendation that we suspend the credit, suspend the credit
Summer sewer credit.
for the summer sewer credit policy for this year to be revisited by the end of the year so we can evaluate how much the city sewer credit policy is actually impacting our budget.
And that's your recommendation.
That's my recommendation, sir.
And motion.
And motion.
Support. Good motion.
Mr. Mararo?
No.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming and listening.
And not just being somebody from the public that's just gonna get the public worked up without coming in. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're happy to include you guys too with opinions of how we move forward and how we make it.
That's all Brock and Dave. Thanks, guys.
Hey, I tried.
And Dan.
All right, we're gonna move on to a professional service contract with Hydro Partners of Hydro Plant Support Services.
Okay, so now we do have Scott Clemundi on Teams. If you can hear me, you can, yes, I think there's movement, maybe, yes. Okay, so we have two back-to-back for Scott. The first, this is a modified contract that you guys, I believe, saw before I started. What this is really about is providing basically technical support at the hydro in Scott Hagee's absence. Now, I've talked to Ray. You know, Ray has prepaid hours. I kind of assigned him to project manage some of these projects we have during the summer. And Scott Clemundi here is a kind of a technical support to Ray on some projects, as well as continuing with the operations audit and the inspections. Scott, does that sound, you and Ray have a little more technical expertise than I do on this, but does that sound correct?
Yeah, it does. Thanks, Dan. Everything listed on here.
Volume 46.
Sorry, that was me.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm just trying to turn it up, and it tells me that I'm turning it up.
Yeah, the goal here is to continue to run the project safely, reliably, reduce the risks that you currently have, and or reduce or eliminate the risks you have, so you can keep eating your generation revenue. That's basically a summary of all of the items listed here.
Scott, what's any different from the proposal you gave us last time?
The difference, one of the differences, as Dan mentioned, is Ray is offering to manage item number 2. There's 5 items there. Ray is going to manage those items, general manage, if you will, and ask me only for technical support.
So this was a $40,000 number, I think the last time it was presented. Is that correct, Scott? Roughly?
Yes.
And now we're down to 19,625? If I'm reading this right?
Yep. These are doing some, what I understand, some technical things that, wouldn't be necessarily Ray's ability. Some things that I think Scott's already been working on that you guys have reviewed. I think it's a lot of it's a continuation.
Why isn't the superintendent who's taken over for Scott?
Brian?
Yeah, doing some of this.
Well, you lost an entire person. I don't think he could possibly manage the projects as well as do the day-to-day down there. And we lost an entire individual.
Is this the same rate that you gave us 2 per hour last time, Scott?
Yes, and I'll mention too, I mean, some of this work is not really, as an example, items 3 and item 4, that's not work that Scott maybe would have done. Item 3 is the watering and inspection work that you typically do. And number 4 is the asset management study work, ongoing work, which again, Scott was not. Those aren't items that Scott would have done.
But 1 and 2 are superintendent who is getting that pay should be able to take care of that, you would think, right?
These are more professional services, I believe. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it. I don't know if this is your typical line worker. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't have a large background in electric hydros. But I'm not certain that this is something that, would Hagee be doing this type of work, Scott? Or is this to me seems like a professional service, but again, I haven't been in this field.
Well, first of all, is it on number 1, is that looking at the Niagara plant?
No, this is all the work on this proposal.
It's a good $8 grand there.
Yeah,
$8 grand back for Scott.
The only work on there that Amy would have been participating in would have been number 2, some of the technical support. And again, Ray is managing that, but items 1, 3, and 4 are professional services that, Dan, you're correct about that.
Oh, and Scott was gonna be there for the head gates, right?
Yes.
So we're looking at about $8,125, kind of the backfill. Scott, if we're looking at items 1 and 2, is that correct? The other 2 items were kind of part of the grand scheme where you were gonna be doing that anyway? For us, Scott, 3 and 4?
Yeah, 3 and 4 are items that, because I don't know if I heard the question correctly, sorry.
I guess we're trying to figure out, Candy's making a point that we're trying to backfill Scott here, so we're trying to get a dollar number. You know, we understand Ray's gonna take some of the responsibilities, and if I'm reading you correctly, items 1 and 2, tasks 1 and 2, are kind of stuff that Scott would have been doing if he was here and not in Jordan. So you're kind of taking those over for Scott?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Yes, that is right.
Okay.
I can see vibrating.
And then 3 and 4 were part of a bigger plan that you were going to do, that I think we've kind of had you enlisted to do?
Correct.
Yeah, you guys, I think, saw that kind of that, almost kind of like a flow chart of where the major dangers were, and where you, that's part of this.
So we're looking at about, if my math is correct, it's $8,125 to kind of backfill for Scott while he's over there. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Then why are we paying the superintendent?
Well, I think,
Leave foreman place.
I just, you lost you lost your leader. I just don't think, that'd be like me going and Trish picking up everything that I'm doing.
well, the other side is Brian qualified in some of this stuff with the dam itself operation, right? I don't know, I'm just asking that question.
It should be up to the second command.
Well, yeah,
And he's,
Sure,
and
I'm
I'm
not saying he
he's
should
the
know
bigger
everything,
price.
but if Hagee went down with like an injury or something, not saying that now. but
Succession
I think
planning.
yeah.
Sure,
He does such a good job of that.
I think he can do this
Yeah.
stuff, but I don't think with his regular.
No, I get you.
Day-to-day stuff,
Yeah.
you've lost a full-time individual. It's,
Yeah,
It's just my opinion. I think he should be doing some of this, not paying that rate. I think there's some stuff Scott should definitely come in and do, but this other stuff, nope, not for me. I think he should do it. He's getting paid, he's the foreman, and he should get paid to do it. Or he shouldn't be taking the pay. Do I have any other comments?
I can review this with Brian, and Ray and Scott to kind of see where we could insert him.
Ray and Scott already knew where we stood the last time when it got voted down. So this is like the second or third time trying to bring the same stuff back. except for a little different. But if you want to review it, that's fine. It's up to you. Whatever is the pleasure of the council.
I'm ready to motion, Ken.
Go ahead.
Hydro Partners contract, a motion on Hydro Partners contract, hydro plant support, be approved at a price of not to exceed $19,625.
Support.
Mr. Pop?
Nope.
Yes, but I would like, I don't know, I would like to see this brought to Brian and ask if he's qualified.
Well, then you gotta vote yes or no. If you want it back, you gotta vote no.
No.
That's up to you.
No. I would like to see, I would like this brought to Brian and see what he's capable of doing.
Mrs. Brew?
No.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Mararo?
Yes.
All right. Motion fails right now. We'll move on to professional service contract with Hydro Partners for Little Quinnesec Hydro Plant.
Yeah. So it's gonna be brought to the next meeting with the information from Brian.
Yeah, we can do that. I think it's a time thing.
Yeah. I completely understand. I do, but. You know.
All right, we'll move on to professional service contract partners for Little Quinnesec Hydro Plant Phase 2.
So, we were told by the portfolio holders that we were moving to Phase 2 if council so wishes. So Phase 2 here, I'll let Scott get into more detail, means we are now have full access to their books, the plant itself, and everything to start really determining its value, its liabilities, everything. You know, if we, you know, I don't think we can really have an accurate idea of what its value and liabilities are unless we move forward with this. Of course, you have to ask yourself, if your threshold isn't, far off from our initial bid at all, then, do you want to move forward at all? Again, someone had this conversation in the 40s, and we touted as a very good decision that someone made to buy the first hydro. We need to move forward if you want to consider putting in a binding offer. I think if we move forward, we'd like to have all of you and the utilities committee go down to this hydro and just visit it so they can start pointing out, everything we see. I'm not well versed in hydropower plants. But we won't know what our ROI or anything like that is if we don't move in to Phase 2. Now, Phase 2 obviously doesn't bind us to anything, but it does get us to the ability to create a real offer. And I believe the timeline is short on this. I think we need to let them know this week if we're moving to Phase 2. Scott Hagee, of course, his comment to me is kind of what I said. Someone made the same discussion in the 40s to buy the hydro plant we have now, and it seems to have been a good investment. And obviously, he's really excited to have the potential to have 2 hydro plants. So, if Scott, if you want to hear from him to kind of give a little better rundown of process and all of that, he's here to answer any questions.
Doug?
Thank you, Dan. So the deep dive that we had talked about, site inspection, we're going to be looking at all of the entire asset top to bottom, including everything related to the app, the license, all the mechanical systems, electrical systems, structural, civil works, spillway, the dam, buildings, properties, the entire project, and coming up with an assessment so that, and tweaking the evaluation that we already gave you to determine what value. You recall that Eagle Creek did not provide any of the documents, any of the history, so we'll be pouring through that as well. So it's two parts to it. Review of all the data, and then including a site inspection to arrive at all of the liabilities, all of the issues, plug that into the model, and determine what the value of the project really is.
So Scott, part of the deal is that they are opening your books in this phase?
Yeah, 100%.
So Scott, on that price, I see down below that it doesn't include FDS. We would still need them involved and Dave Crozy involved.
Yes, both of them have existing, the city has authorized some effort. We use them just for a couple of hours in phase one.
Yeah.
So they're already contracted for I think most of this work. It's not included in this piece.
Yeah, they were in that first.
That was at $9,000.
Yeah.
Right, that was at 9,000 we approved? Scott, originally?
I don't recall what the number was.
But yeah, that was the phase one contract that included,
I think, Kenny, the whole deal was about 40, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it? Something like
Scott,
that.
do you remember the original contract with it? Because I think the original included phase one and phase two.
Right,
And we
we
pared
broke
it
it
down.
out.
I can't remember what that total cost was.
Yeah, we didn't at the time, we didn't understand that there was gonna be two phases to it. So we just went in with the proposal at the time. And then, of course, they came out with two phases, so we broke it down into two phases.
Yeah. Yeah, we broke it out that time.
So how deep are we into it right now?
I think we had 9 into it.
Oh, I can't remember that first contract. Scott, do you remember that first contract? Yeah, 8 or 9 sounds familiar.
Mom was positive, it was like 9.
It was 9,000 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The first contract for me, I think, was 15,000.
Yeah.
15.
I think we pared it down.
No, the rest of the other two, we did, not this one.
Well, we're somewhere between 9 and 15 already invested to get through phase one.
It would be nice to know exactly what we got.
If they're 15 and the other one's utilized a little bit, we're over 15, so we gotta be with 18 or 19.
Yeah,
So if we put another 16 into this and we find out that we're not gonna get what we're gonna add, we got $40,000 wrapped up into this, or $35,000 wrapped up into this.
yeah.
And we're talking about losing money in budgets already?
We narrowed it down to 5 grand, and then we just spent all that money. So there's some left on that initial authorized 5 grand yet. But if that was what they did, phase one, spend on phase one was less than 5,000.
Yeah, there's no question, Scott, that this is, you know,
This is scary.
it's gonna be,
This is really
it's
scary,
gonna be scary no matter what. And I agree with you, it's scary, but there is an opportunity
That we think.
that we won't know until,
Yeah,
that's the tough part, is you don't know.
We have to raise rates for the sewers. We know what's going on with the cable. I mean, there's so many things going on right now.
What's the cost of not acting?
Yes, I 100% agree.
It's tough.
We have one asset in this community that makes us a boatload of money, and this is an opportunity to possibly get another one that's maybe as much as 3 times the size of that.
But we can't use that power here.
All I'm saying is that
No, we can't use the power
We
here.
would
We
be
can only
selling
sell
it, we
it.
would sell it for a while, so we would receive, ideally, of course, we would cover all of our bond costs with the revenue that we're selling and hopefully have some left over. Likely in our time here, we, might not see that full realization of it.
I think we got too many irons in the fire. We gotta take care of what we got. That's just my opinion.
I think we need a full council for this one.
Well, we don't have time. Scott, what's the deadline to move to phase 2?
this week.
Try to schedule site visits in the next week or two.
So what would be the absolute deadline for a approval or not approval to move on? We
That's,
do it, yeah. So we would have a meeting probably 3 weeks from now, unless we do a special
We have a
meeting.
special meeting Monday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have
We could add it to the
amended
agenda.
that.
can you do that, just say, because
It's within
that's not
48
an
hours.
excuse not to do it though, to not vote on it, because they're in full council, or,
It's up to the council.
okay.
And we can call a special meeting whenever you guys want to, if later this week or however you want to do it. The time is of the
I think it's
essence.
too big of a deal, right? Because if we're gonna end up, there's a good chance we'll be deadlocked, and the 5th would be the year, the nay.
Do we
I don't-
want to look at trying to do a special, well, we have 2 budget meetings,
Wednesday and possibly Friday.
correct?
Is that enough time to get it on now? Don't we have that, is it 24, or is it 18, what is it, 36?
We could, yeah, well, we can, if everyone's available, if everyone's, I don't know who's coming to these budget meetings.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, I think next Monday's meeting would be the proper one, because I think we're all planning on being to that one for sure, right? The special meeting.
I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
beat to
Yeah.
that one. The other ones I
We
don't.
can, I think everything else is up in the air here for Wednesday and Friday for everybody.
Scott, would next Monday, the 27th, would that be acceptable?
Yeah, sooner is better. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean,
Well, Scott, we have an even number of council people here tonight, so it's a very good chance it might be deadlocked, and we'd like to have either a majority, either in the nay or the yay.
We can also vote on it and just bring it back on Monday. I mean, I.
That's fine. Scott, you can motion it, you have the right to motion it, if you want to motion it.
I guess if I'm looking at the way things can come out here, it's like those poll taps.
I'm not gambling. We could make a lot of money, but we could not.
I mean, this doesn't lock us into buying anything.
I know it doesn't, but why, I just can't see, keep putting money into this. That's just my opinion. Everybody else can have their own opinion. I want to take care of what we got. And the economy and everything else is bad right now, so, I mean, and everything's getting higher. And I'm not saying it couldn't make money. I have no idea. I don't have a crystal ball. But I just know I'm going to take care of what we have.
Well, that's this is what gets us to
Yeah, this is
figuring out if we can make money.
as clear as a crystal ball as we're gonna
We
get.
looked at that years ago,
right.
according to Marvin Fowler. So I went and talked to him. He knows Marvin all of it.
All right. Are we going to do a motion? You want to postpone it? Whatever you guys want to do, I'm
Well,
fine with.
Yeah, I mean,
I can try to start scheduling with you guys kind of, after this meeting. If everyone's gonna be here on the 27th, we can do that. If anyone thinks that they can make one of those, if everyone thinks they can make one of the 2 budget meetings, we can amend it for that. Or if an off day works for everybody, we can always call a special meeting, for that purpose alone.
I'm good either way. I can motion it, or we can table it until next Monday, whatever you guys want to do.
Table it. I motion to table until next Monday or 27th.
Support.
Mrs. Brew,
No.
Mr. Menegini,
Yes.
Mr. Mararo,
Yes.
Mr. Pop.
Yes.
All right, we will amend that 27th meeting, and have that on there. Thank you, Scott. I will be in touch with you probably tomorrow.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
Okay, thank you, Councilman.
Move on to approval of adoption PA 95 low income energy assistance.
the next one?
Oh, no, my renewable, I'm sorry. Renewable energy credit sales, City of Escanaba.
No, we're here. We got meeting stuff.
Oh,
Where we at, FERC?
Yeah.
where am I at? Professional service contract with Mead and Hunt for annual engineering service, FERC license compliance.
So if you guys recall the last meeting, we kind of had this contract and is combined with the one we'll talk about after this. So my understanding is this is our yearly agreement with Mead and Hunt to help us through FERC compliance. And Sean Pouzin from Mead and Hunt is here if anyone has any questions for him.
I know Sean does a good job every year for us with his engineering. I mean, I don't think we can thank him enough for the years of helping us out with this. And I really appreciate everything that he's done.
And I don't believe this is, I mean, Sean,
Sean-
you can tell us, I don't think there's anything drastically different in this first proposal, just your the annual licensing.
That's correct.
How many years, Sean, have you been doing this for us?
I believe this is the 7th year. I started in 2015. Mead and Hunt have been doing it for many years prior to the Ari Duvall and Linda Mitchell, who have retired, did retire in 2015. So I've been doing it since that time. And I don't believe that we've ever had to come back and ask for more money, if I'm not mistaken. Generally, when I write proposals, I put a little extra time in there for on-the-scene activities. For instance, this past year, with the land sale work coming up, we created some maps and so forth to assist in that, and we were able to do that under the existing contract. So, and then also, the work has gotten a little bit less in recent years with Scott Nagy coming on and doing the deviation reporting. That has saved some money in consulting fees for that, because Scott had learned how to do a lot of that work too. I don't know when he's coming back or if he's coming back, but in the
He's
past,
coming.
it's helped use some of your consulting fees.
Do we have any other questions, or do we have a motion?
We're on the FERC licensing compliance, correct?
Yep, 14.
My motion being Hunt annual engineering services for the FERC license compliance be approved for a price not to exceed $20,000.
Support.
Mr. Manini?
Yes.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes. And just so everybody knows in the audience, this is something that we have to do. We don't have a choice. To keep our dam running, we have to get our FERC license approved.
Another thing that mandated that is always brought up. They make us do it, but they don't pay for it.
Move on to professional service contract with Mead and Hunt for Sturgeon Falls Hydro property sale.
So this is the second part of what was discussed at that last meeting. So what this is the property that we own in Wisconsin that is on the Menominee that is across from our hydro. We are in talks with the state of Wisconsin to sell that property to them. This proposal here is for Mead and Hunt to help us do the FERC compliance of that portion, because that property is in the FERC boundary. Sean, does that sound right?
Yes, yeah.
Sean, I have a question for you on this. Can we, I had heard some grumblings about, like, we don't want to sell too close to our dam. Can we say, okay, whatever, how many acres we still want to keep on one side if we decided to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, my understanding with the DNR is they're interested in what you are willing to sell. I have created a map that you saw last time. Keeps a buffer around the reservoir, and then keeps, for instance, the ownership of the islands and so forth, and things that I think you should keep, from my experience with the hydro projects, that you should keep controlling the shoreline. And so that's how we delineated the sale, or the parcels that are for sale. Unfortunately, and I just want to mention this to the council, because I have been involved in land sales on hydro projects before, and there are some instances where the licensee has had to purchase property back because of some change in FERC regulation or FERC rule. And once the property is sold, if you need it for the license that FERC determines needed, you would have to purchase it back. I don't know of anything in this situation for your particular project, but there is always that danger. So I'm just trying to be outright and honest with you on this. I'm just trying to do what's best for you and your future interest in bringing that forward.
Hey, Sean, so I see we say it's a potential sale to Wisconsin DNR. We do not have a contract in place with the DNR and agreed upon price, correct?
We do not.
I don't believe so. I'm actually not really handling that part of it. Ray
We do not?
I'm just assisting, I'm assisting only on what's required from the FERC license
Sure.
standpoint to get permission to sell.
So in fairness, as we talked about the Wildlife Project, the Quinnipiac Dam project, this is $9,800. That doesn't guarantee us nothing. Just saying.
And I don't know a lot about this project yet. You know, I'm always a little cautious when it comes to selling large parcels of land. I haven't been out to that area. I don't know if any of you have. I plan to go out there just to kind of see it, to know what we're...
The point I'm making is you have to spend money to make money. I'm just making a point here. I'm not against this. I'm just saying there is risk in everything. And if you want to make money and turn assets, sometimes there's some risk there. 10 grand is 10 grand. And like I said, that doesn't mean we're going to come up with, all that's going to do is allow him to show us, here's what you can sell.
Right.
There's no guarantee that Wisconsin DNR is going to buy it from us.
So Sean, no matter what, when you do your work, obviously, we'd have to pay you whether we sold it or not.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
If I do the work, I like to get paid.
Yes.
What? That's a novel idea.
I'm not standing here as an advocate for the sale. I'm not against the sale. I'm just trying to provide you the information so that you can make your decision, you know, regardless of whether I get any work out of it or not. It doesn't really matter.
It's a good time to be buying stuff, not selling stuff when you head into a recession. Or actually when you're in a recession.
So are we putting the cart before the horse?
10 grand. I mean, I would think we'd want to get a little more serious. We want to get some kind of agreement with the DNR saying, if you can make this happen, here's
What are you going to give us per
exactly.
acre?
Is
And
that- is
it's a
that all
done
the
deal
size
if you
of
can
DNR
break
work?
this out of the FERC thing.
They can pay for him.
There you have it if they want it. I think we're the motivated side. They're not, from what I've been told. I think Ray started this.
It sounds like this started 10 years ago.
Yeah, long
Right.
I've been a part of 2 of these meetings, one really early on, my first week here or so, and one a little more recently. So I'm still wrapping my head, you know, this is a sale to WisDOT, and then WisDOT sells it to the DNR. We do retain the shoreline. You know, being in the FERC boundary, sure, right now, there's nothing a lot you can do with it other than
You know,
what it's
And
there.
nobody
Now-
else can come
now,
in and
the
give you a bid on
DNR,
I
their,
agree, exactly.
their master plan is to keep it for recreation, which is, you know, what I think we would,
We can't sell it to anybody else. If they say no, it's dead.
but we could also do our own recreation if it's out of the FERC boundary at some point.
In Wisconsin?
Sure.
Yeah.
We do it. I haven't been out there. I plan to kind of drive out there just so I can see what we're talking about selling. Maybe it's something, I know this has been a passion of Ray, and I just take a step back
I've seen the other side of where the
when
dam is,
selling a
but
lot
there's
of
some
property.
over here.
What could we use it
So,
You don't understand.
You know,
Brad, could we do it, could we work out the deal with them first, saying, can we get some kind of agreement to purchase in place? Understand that the cost, like, you know, costs would be split for Sean and, you know, blah, 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 blah.
I'm not aware of any reason why not to. I mean, I think as Sean noted, you know, and I respect him saying exactly what he said. I'm just here to help.
Yeah.
No,
And
yeah.
if you guys need my help to get through this process, this is my fee. And I I've worked with him enough at this point where I echo Candy's comments, and it's refreshing with working with him. We don't, as far as I know, I haven't really been involved either. This has been previous management's baby, if you will. It's, like I said, it's been a 10-year project, but I'm not really up to speed on it either. But I think when you're negotiating a land sale, I think we've all had some negotiations and some experience with that. I don't see why we couldn't say, if we wanted to include it in the price, the cost, and
I think the cart's way before the horse on this one personally.
I mean, maybe what we should do, since we're all, I think, a little, Sean's probably been the most involved in this, is maybe we can get someone from the DNR, maybe to come give a presentation to you guys about what their plans are. And my understanding of a price, I think I estimated around just under 500,000 for 350 some acres. I would ask them if we did move forward, I want wayfinding signs on the Wisconsin side for our stuff in Norway. So when you're coming down to 41, you see 8, WisDOT puts signs for the city of Norway and the golf course and the park. And maybe we can kind of request a little something directionally, so.
Yeah, I have no problem investing $10,000 to, make $500,000, but we need to make sure that it's real and that there's an understanding in place that if we move forward with this and FERC says yes, they're gonna buy it.
Yeah, right.
That's all.
It's not FERC that's gonna buy it.
No, I'm saying if we can,
Wisconsin,
if we can get FERC to release it, and then, that the DNR would then purchase it from
It
us.
sounds like everything is trending to that way, and I think WisDOT and the DNR certainly, they'll buy it.
Great, let's get it on paper and get somebody to sign it that has some.
Go ahead, Sean.
Whatever, and let's move.
Yeah, I just, if you choose not to move forward with this, you'll continue to retain the land and own the land. And then when you go up for relicense in about 2035, you'll start the relicensing process. And during relicensing, the land can come out at no additional cost. It comes out as part of the licensing process, and the way FERC has been handling excess lands over the last 5 years is that they don't want those extra lands in the project boundaries anymore, which has been a change in thinking. Probably 10 acres ago, FERC wanted all of that land. Now, the last 5 years, they don't want it in the project boundary. I can't guarantee where it's going to be in 2035. But during relicensings, a lot of licensees are taking that excess land out of the project, and you can sell it wherever you want.
Ooh.
So I don't want to think this is the last opportunity to land either. And again, I'm not advocating.
There you go, commercial, man.
Just trying to let you know that it seems like the land is tied up forever, but technically it's not. It will be tied up to your.
That's what we do. Something that confirmation from the DNR.
And then, good.
Do you want me to see if we could have someone from WisDOT and the Wisconsin side come and kind of just do a presentation so we all, that's why I brought it to you last time, because I don't know what
And
all
I was
this is yet.
not involved in any of that either.
Yeah, just like I said, just my opinion, again, if we're gonna, we at least have to know that they're going to buy it, right? There has to be something there before you go spend 10 grand and go through the whole rigmarole, I would assume. I don't wanna spend 10 grand for nothing. Because they're the only ones we can sell to right now.
I believe you have a letter from the DOT or DNR, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I included one last packet that kind of discusses their intent and kind of, I'll try to get the whole thing together and have it to you, but I do think it'd be good to have someone here in person to kind of bring you guys up to speed that have been involved with it.
Make everyone feel alive.
Okay.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Just like this,
I can just ask for a motion. Do I have a motion? I hear none. We'll move on to approvals, resolution 2022-17, wastewater sludge disposal in Wisconsin. if I believe right, that we have this every year,
Correct.
so that this comes up every year where we bring our sludge.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions on that? If not, I need a motion.
Motion resolution approving wastewater sludge disposal in Wisconsin, resolution 2022-17 be approved.
Support.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Move on to renewable energy credit sale agreement with the city of Escanaba. I'm gonna let Grant take this over for, if you don't mind. He has a few things that,
Yeah, Grant and I have talked, so yeah.
Okay.
It's fine.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, as Mr. Stoltman noted, I was going through the packet. Just recall, back in September, or October, really October, the council considered and worked through a contract to have a broker assist the city with selling our RECs. And I believe I think it was the state of Ohio had a very, very competitive process that was lucrative and the council approved. Since then, we haven't had any REC sales, but I believe and we learned in the process that there were some issues in Ohio with that broker being able to get approval to in fact sell the RECs down there. There was some issues with the size of our hydro and the output and some limitations on how Ohio treated our RECs apparently. And I learned this today, and I think Dan was working through this in the last week or so, have found that it didn't work. But at the same time, we have this contract down there. It looks, and I think it's pretty clean and clear to me that they've defaulted on their abilities to sell our RECs. But because I just found out recently, and I have been involved in lawsuits where there's more than one contract in play, I really would like to have a mutual release. I think that there's probably, based upon what I've learned in some of the emails that were maybe back and forth with our hydro operator, it's probably very clear that everything is clean and they are in default and everybody's moved forward from this contract. But my job is to be a little bit more careful.
Do we have any recourse?
Pardon me?
Do we have any recourse?
It's a mutual, either party can provide 30 days notice and get out of the contract. So that was one of the things we all wanted to make sure that was a easy out if we had to, but a benefit to the community if we were able to take advantage of it. So it's likely that it's completely dead, but I'd like to just make sure and base what I was talking to Dan about was having circulating a mutual release from that contract, just make sure it's clear and there's a paper trail with it. So there's no question that later on these guys don't come back and say, whoa, you sold these RECs to Escanaba. We were able to do it and we just couldn't do that one. We can do another one. So I like it clean and
What was the REC price?
$250.
Same thing as we had before.
I mean, was it for the one in Ohio?
More.
Yeah, quite a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for Lance, I think it was almost.
And there's no other markets out there, guys?
That's,
Well, I got an email from WPPI recently to broker that someone's interested in the remaining RECs that we have, our 21 and 22. I talked to Escanaba before we knew about this other contract. The going rate for $250 it's probably anywhere between $250 and $3 right now, maybe more. But yeah, that contract was, I think, substantially higher, but there was a brokerage fee.
wasn't that the rate that we went with them last time at?
Yes,
$250?
Yeah, I talked to WPPI and then I talked to Patrick Devon from MPP something. And I was getting two different numbers. WPPI said they hadn't dealt in Michigan RECs in a while, so they didn't really know what the number was. The Michigan's guy told me what he thought they were, so that's where we came up with $250.
I would have to say they had to go up.
I would have to say the same thing.
They're getting more and more scarce and they have to have them.
Yeah, if you get brokers involved now, you know they're worth something. The brokers are.
Well, look at how much they've went up. I can testify from the years being here, right, Grant? Each year, it's been going up more. I can't say that it's different now, but.
I mean, we would still have, if we sold this, I think we still have 2,000 or so 2020s, and then I don't know how many thousands we have for 21 or 22, but a fair amount. But if we don't think we can sell to them, their deadline is, I think, the 30th, because they have legal requirements to
So
to do this.
we're
Sell that
okay,
word.
but we're okay if we sell these ones?
Well, that's what we're gonna find out.
Oh.
That's where, if we approve it, it will do it, contingent upon us
Contingent.
finding that out. It's just if we can't find that out in the next few days and have something in writing, we're gonna have to cancel the deal because Escanab's gonna have to find somebody else.
Yeah, the motion would have to be contingent upon confirming the cancellation of this contract, of
And we
the
have no
broker
recourse
contract.
against that brokerage firm. If we could lose these credits.
You could.
Do I have a motion?
I guess a bird in hand at this point.
Yeah. Is this the 37,500?
It's
Oh, no, that's for the,
yep,
sorry,
it's
the
selling-
41,250?
Yep.
Yep, it's selling
Okay.
16,500.
I move that the city of Norway authorize the city manager to execute the renewable energy credit sale agreement for $41,250 with the city of Escanaba, contingent upon
The release
the
of the contract.
release of the contract from the prior brokerage firm. What's the name of that firm?
It's okay, we don't take any.
Clear Energy? What was it? Clear Energy.
Clear Energy.
This is your recommendation.
I mean, between what? Just selling it or not selling it, or just, I mean, obviously my recommendation was to sell to Escanaba with my limited background of Rex.
I think we'll still be able to find out what the market truly is.
Yeah,
once-
it's-
Once we sell the remaining. Bird in the hand.
I mean, we don't have to sell to them at all, and then, now there
Support
is
it,
no
I'll support it,
broker
I'll support it.
in this,
Thank you.
so we do get the full amount.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Mayini?
Yes.
Mr. Morrow?
Yes.
Adoption of PA 95 Low Income Energy Assistance Program. This is also a yearly thing that we do. Go, Dan.
Yep, so I'm learning this one as well. I spoke to Katie Abrams from MMEA about this. Basically, the way it was explained to me is if you opt into the program, low-income individuals that can't pay their energy bill, we can't shut them off, but then they will be eligible for assistance to then be able to pay us. If we opt out, I believe we can shut them up, but they have no ability to get assistance, and then we're less likely to get paid.
Get anything.
Then we're good.
Do we get the payment, or do they get the payment and we have to get paid by them?
I'm not sure how that process works.
Lisa?
No, this whole program works pretty well. That charge is on each utility bill. It's that 96 cents, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And what that enables you guys to enable us to cut power in the middle of winter. If somebody is not paying their bill and they have not gone to the service agencies. The agencies that we have, there's 4 of them now, are very good working with us, utility billing, and the money does come direct to us. DHS is direct deposit to the city. It doesn't go to the customer.
Sure.
In fact, I don't think any of the agencies give the money to the customers anymore. It comes direct to the city.
Good.
It's nice, the bills do get paid.
Do I have any other questions? If not, I need a motion.
I move opting into Public Act 95, the Low Income Energy Assistance Program.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Mayini?
Yes.
Mr. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Move on to approval, temporary part-time employment. Dan?
So this is to approve former treasurer Mary Pollard to come back as a part-time basis to kind of give us a hand during the summer. It's busy. We're, Lisa's still learning. And this will tie into our kind of our next topic as well. But so we're looking to bring her back on a temporary part-time basis to to help out in a coming transition.
Do I have a motion?
And we do have to motion her wage on this, which is $75 an hour.
I motion that temporary part-time employment be offered to Mary Pollard at the rate of $75 an hour.
Support.
Mr. Mancini,
Yes.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes. Approval of administrative city treasurer.
So as you guys are aware, current city treasurer Lisa Schultz has asked to return to her old position. This is one of the reasons why we'll look for assistance from Mary Pollard. In the meantime, I'm looking for you guys to review the city treasurer job description and discuss if there's any sort of changes you'd like to make to that job description, and then authorize me to start kind of the recruitment process. My plan would be, if you guys authorize it, is to recruit this both locally and nationally. Typically, how I would do a recruitment, if you want us to do it internally, of course, we could go with a recruiting firm. We can handle this one internally. We would post locally, local newspapers here at City Hall. We would do our local Facebook paid ads, and then we would look to the Michigan Municipal League classifieds as well as surrounding state municipal leagues, and then I would look at more national ones like ICMA, governmentjobs.com, and perhaps other financial institutions. Of course, any current employee would be eligible for applying as well.
Excuse me, Ken. Grant, he's got kind of a budgetary ratio in here, like a guesstimate. Do you want us to do enough to exceed for right now, of the 1,500?
I think it's always helpful just to put it not to exceed.
You good with that? You good with
Yeah,
that?
that's fine. I mean, typically, it shouldn't go more than that. Some of them are free, some are.
If it does, you're gonna have to come back
I
and ask him.
know. I would get, if you give me 1,500, that should be plenty to do an advertisement.
Okay, buddy.
Assuming that we are able to recruit within the first.
Gotcha.
And I think we gotta get rolling on it.
Yeah, I think we do too.
We gotta get going.
I'll motion, I motion that we empower our wonderful city manager.
Oh, thank you.
Put a city treasurer advertisement, both locally and nationally, for a price not to exceed $1,500.
Support.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop? Yes. Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Mancini?
Yes.
Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on any items of interest shall do so now at the podium. State your name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person.
My name is Ron Hendrickson, 1151 Ball Road in Vulcan. I'm also the president of the Vulcan Norway Lions Club. And I want to rest you at ease, I am not here to sell you raffle tickets or invite you to our picnic at Marion Park on July 10th. But if you're in the neighborhood, we'd appreciate seeing you.
Might as well get the time in there too.
Yeah, what time does it start?
11 o'clock.
There you go.
And what was that, July 9th at 11 o'clock?
Yeah.
11 to 3.
11 to 3, on what was the date, 9th?
I had dropped off some pictures to Dan, I don't know if anybody...
They haven't gotten that yet.
Okay, so I'll make it short and simple. As you know or don't know, Lions is the largest service organization in the world. We donate, support many organizations and individuals. We want to do a service project, something for the whole community, not just individual groups or individual organizations. So what we've come up with is we'd like your support in being able to put a permanent grill fixture at Marion Park for everybody, not just for our annual picnic, which is once a year, but anybody that wants to have family picnics. But it would have a roof on it. Now, we haven't had it designed or anything like that because we have no clue if you're going to allow something like this, and we have no idea what the cost is going to be. The Lions will pay for the entire project for materials, and hopefully the city would have some of the labor involved. Just to give you an idea what it looks like, we're going by Crystal Falls. Crystal Falls has got a covered barbecue, like this here. Unfortunately, it's hard to go out there because they have a picnic the same day we do. Here's what it looks like with all the chickens on it. And if you've been out to Marion Park, these are our guys cooking the chicken. And as you can see, they put the grill up and they take it down every year. So what we're looking to do is to have, construct something like this with the roof on it and ventilated, so everybody could use it, not just the lines in July. So before we take it any further, we just want to know if the city of Norway would consider us putting a permanent structure.
One of my biggest questions would be for Grant first. What's the liability?
Insurance.
Yeah.
But there
As long as it's
is
safe.
those little ones out there now, though.
As long as it's a safe structure, I think we typically have immunity when it comes to parks.
What's the liability if somebody breaks their leg playing baseball in one of our fields?
That's what insurance is for,
Yeah.
generally. We already have what they do is probably more of a liability than a permanent structure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Lions Club has insurance, we have insurance. We can't get away from any and all liability,
Right,
of
right.
course. But I'd say it's nominal,
As long as we're not
speaking, because-
negligent.
And the nice thing too, for the gentlemen who cook the chicken, they'll be underneath, have the sun off of them, especially if
Or
it's
the
a
rain,
day.
right?
Or the rain, that happens.
We've been very lucky. We've only been rained out once, Bill, over the course of the years. But if it rains at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning when they start the grills, we don't have a picnic. So
There was.
There was.
I like it.
I think anything that you'll do to improve our park
Yep.
is wonderful. It's nice to see somebody come in. I'm glad to see you guys use it every year. It's wonderful. You bring people in our community. And not only that, the money you make always goes to a good cause. So.
And I'm sure we got somebody in Parks and Rec that if we got a couple thousand worth of labor, we can
Well,
handle
what
it.
we would do if, I'll work with them at parks and we can try to start to come up with a plan to look at location, design, and try to get a good cost estimate, and then we can bring that to you guys for kind of a more of official nod.
Yeah, if we don't have to worry about the materials, heck, summer help could, we could put, we could throw some summer help out.
those are some of the organizations and individuals that we support every year. And if you feel this is something that the city would like, we will explore further on
And
cost.
Did you say
Give
you're
you
gonna be?
dimensions, and it would be set up exactly next to where the pavilion is there, where we do our chickens all the time, unless you feel it should go someplace else.
Now, how much help are you gonna need from the city? Because that would be one of the things we'd have to look into.
We'd have to see how much it's gonna cost. I'm hoping that we could pay for the whole thing. We're definitely gonna pay for all the materials.
Right, but, we just gotta look at our manpower to make sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know if you
I don't
have
know.
some cement layers or.
I don't know what's involved and what our skill set to do that, but we can investigate that, and if the city wants to contribute, we can look at maybe paying to subcontract out some work.
Like I said, at this venture, we have no clue. For all we know, it's gonna be so priced
Yeah,
that we're not gonna be able to do it.
Sure.
As we know, everything is going up, but there's no sense exploring it any further if you're gonna say, no, we don't want a structure at Marion Park for barbecue.
I like the idea.
I like the ideas.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, I will get back to you at a later date,
Yeah, we'll be in touch, we'll kind of work together on
Do we need a-
doing that.
and we'll get dimensions and designs. Thank you for
Okay.
your time.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for all you do.
July 10th, Marion Park.
11 to 3.
11 to 3? I'm putting it in the calendar.
Anyone else? If not, we'll move, do I have anybody else that has anything? No? If not, we'll move on to mayor council comments. Scott?
Just stay hydrated. It's warm. That's all I got.
Jeff?
Welcome back. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Thinking about you.
Thank you. Rico?
No comments.
I have no comments either tonight.
Please don't ask him, Ken, don't ask him.
Do you have anything, Grant?
Nothing, thank you, Madam Mayor.
I do
Yeah.
not.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Oh, motion to go into closed session.
Yeah, we do have closed session.
Oh, we do have closed session, I'm
Make a
sorry.
motion to go into closed session.
Support.
We will not be coming back out to vote on anything.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
What are we talking about now? Oh, personnel.